Yeah, it's cool because he's also from this area, and like I'm from Southern Ohio, so like it's that Southern Ohio, like we're just two normal dudes that like just like playing music, and I feel like we're trying to like capture the sounds of Southern Ohio that people grew up listening to almost. Like,
cool.
You know, like that Scannerd sound and like pure Prairie League and like the Southern rock, but also bluegrass and also 90s, like Alan Jackson, like literally
Tight.
everything.
Bernard Glockner died in 1876. It is recalled that the funeral cortege was the largest ever seen in the city.
This is the Local Legends Podcast.
Welcome back to the Local Legends Podcast. This is episode 41, and I'm in the Glockner Speakeasy with Dylan and Simon. Welcome, gentlemen.
Howdy.
Thank you for having us.
Just start by telling us who you are and what you do.
My name is Dylan Stulley. I'm from Waverly. I live in Chillicothe now, so about the same area. I play guitar, a little bit of banjo.
The Appalachian classic, bro. You gotta stay true to the roots.
Exactly. I mean, with this mullet, with this Pike County mud flap I got going on here, you know, I got to play the banjo, or at least try to. You know
Represent Pike County, baby.
So I dabble in a little bit of that. I songwrite. Just try to get as many gigs and opportunities as I can to play music in front of people, honestly. So
Good deal, bro.
me.
I'm Simon Thoroughman, and I'm from Portsmouth, went to Minford. Been singing and playing a long time. Dylan has kind of taken me under his wing and kind of pushed me to get out a little more, and it's been fun. So we're
Good
kind
deal.
of honing our stuff.
Yeah, y'all both been playing music for a while, but just recently kind of teamed up, yeah?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've known each other for a couple years. I actually heard Simon sing at River Days the first time ever. Had no idea who he was. I was there watching the pageant with an ex-girlfriend, so it wasn't like I wasn't just there for. I was like a junior in high school. Yeah, that's me. I just
add
like
as much context as you want, bro.
Yeah. So anyway, I was sitting at this pageant, really taking it all in, and Simon sang a song, and I think I was a senior, but anyway, he sang a song in the middle of it. I don't remember what song it was, but I remember looking like, wow, that dude is really good. A couple years later, I think I ran into him at a church camp or something, because we both kind of grew up in the church world, and he sang another song. I can't remember who does it. It's that Drop D song.
It's a Lifehouse song. I forget what it was, though.
Yeah, and he sang that, and I was with somebody, and I was like, man, he is so good. And they were like, well, like, make music with him. And I was like, I can't do that. Like, there's no, like, so we got together, jammed a couple times, and just wasn't the right time. It didn't feel like, I guess, just kind of like,
A lot of stuff going on. I mean,
diffused out, and we did our own separate things for a couple years. And actually, a couple months ago, I told my girlfriend Riley, I was like, if Simon lived a little closer, like, we would be able to do some kind of like Eagles kind of tribute band or something like that, just because I feel like that's both our styles, because I've kept up with him and we've been friends, you know.
Yeah.
So and then like he started posting on TikTok, and I was like, I know this dude is gonna blow up on TikTok. Like, there's no way he won't. Sure enough, he started like taking off on TikTok and got that platform because he's that good.
Oh, that's cool, man.
That good.
Yeah, when did you start playing on TikTok?
probably about a year ago.
Yeah. So you like starting to generate a little bit of a following, yeah?
Yeah, the past couple months, I had like one video that did pretty well, and then we're trying to like further that and kind of put some of us on there and hopefully gain like a following that way.
Yeah, man, you basically just like have access to an unlimited audience at that point, you know?
And it's cool too. Tool. Yeah, it's cool because he's also from this area, and like I'm from Southern Ohio, so like it's that Southern Ohio, like we're just two normal dudes that like just like playing music, and I feel like we're trying to like capture the sounds of Southern Ohio that people grew up listening to almost. Like,
cool.
You know, like that Scannerd sound and like pure Prairie League and like the Southern rock, but also bluegrass and also 90s, like Alan Jackson, like literally
Tight.
Everything. And then when I write songs, I try to write songs like, you know, like that kind of have familiar references in it. Like,
sure.
Because I'm from Waverly, so I'll like talk about 23 or, you know, the Appalachian Pipeline is what I call it. And then there's the Appalachian Highway. So I don't know, just it's fun being able to almost, and I have like no following at all, but it's cool to be able to capture those like references in music, I guess, and make it sound as cool as you can get it to sound.
You say you don't have a following, but you definitely had people who played last night, and you said,
well, like it's just this like local, like I've just been doing local things, like I've just been involved in music because I love doing it. And so I played with a band from down here for a while, and we did a music video, and then I still play in this country band up in Chillicothe called 6 to Noon with my buddy Puma, and you know, we get to do that. Like I just want to be involved in as many like things.
Dude, you don't get a name Puma without like being a solid dude.
Dude,
you know?
He has a first name which I won't expose on here because I don't know if it's whatever, but I swear I thought his name was Puma. Like I was like, that's such an interesting name. He even has a tattoo of Puma, and I'm like, okay, it's got to be legit.
Yeah, no doubt.
Like, you can't just tattoo anything on your body or whatever.
like the Puma logo?
Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah, it's on his arm, dude. And he told me, he like, somebody called him and he's like, yeah, this is blank, and I was like, what? I had no idea about it. I'm not a very
Chester or something like that.
This is Cletus. They call me Puma.
That's awesome. Well, guys, I mean, definitely some of my favorite people that I've met on the podcast are creators, like people that make things, have an export to like represent their city or do art or music or whatever. That, like you're saying, kind of capture just like what Appalachia is or where you came from, your experiences. Yeah. And that's like it requires a lot of courage to do that. So I commend you guys for that. People oftentimes are just afraid to even put that first step in, like even start a profile on TikTok or you know, put their music out on a platform kind of thing.
It's tough. I have a couple things out. I have 2 EPs and then this pop single that I did. It's just like I've just kind of taken every opportunity to put it out there, and I look back at some of it and I'm like, oh my gosh. But it's hard. I sat with probably 5 songs for like 2 years that I had written and like were pretty well recorded, and I was just like, I can't do it. Like, but these are so much better, and this person does, like, you know, and I was like, I don't know. But once I put that first one out, I was like, okay, well, that was easier than I thought. Like, it's kind of like, I have the mindset of like, if people want to listen to it, they'll kind of like, I've found my niche of like, I want to listen to these people, and I think, you know, if it's supposed to happen, they'll find me, and you know, I want to do as much as I can to give them a chance at least, you know, to see me or us or whatever it is, you know. And it's kind of hard to do because I didn't have any, there's no handbook or anything. Like I've been lucky enough to work with some people that have been around the block a couple times and, you know how to schedule things or how to, you know, there's just a lot of weird things that you never think about when it comes to like scheduling gigs or even getting together for rehearsals. And then you got the whole like, everybody has like, nobody can do this full time, especially with COVID and everything, you know, they're not having these big shows. And so it's just kind of, it's been weird and interesting figuring it out, and it's definitely had its ups and downs, but right now I definitely am on an up because there's just so many cool things that are happening that I get to be a part of, and the area is so talented, and I know that like, and the next year it's going to be crazy to not expose, but expose kind of all the talent that Southern Ohio has.
Right.
Work together, and you're, you know, as you start working, like meeting guys like Dale and Chase, you know, it's incredible to be able to work with those people and know that you all are working hard to be the best you can be to represent the community that you're from, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, and definitely like where we live, there's probably been never been a better time to be a small town entrepreneur because we have all these free like open source platforms to do your thing, starting TikTok or like an e-commerce store, like with what Doc Spartan did that, you know, they just, it was all very DIY. There wasn't a plan for that kind of stuff either. But really starting is the key, and so y'all are definitely doing that and making waves, which is cool. Oh yeah, and that's like walking into that Doc Spartan gym. Like I said, I saw him on Shark Week. I had not Shark Week, Shark Tank. Yeah, same thing. Yeah, it's whatever. It might have been. It was a couple weeks ago, but I couldn't believe it. Just walking into that place and being like, man, this is like incredible. Yeah, there's like 3 different businesses or something operating out of there or close by, and how they like are
helping the community with like,
Yeah.
you know, being specific about who they hire and all that. It's incredible. It was just crazy listening to him and being like, this is where I'm from. Like, this is Southern Ohio. It's not what people think it is, or like, this is what it is. Like, focus on this instead of other stuff, you know? So it's just cool to be able to work with people and like being able to sit down and do this. Like, dude, I've saw your graphics for the past like, what, 2 years, year and a half?
Yeah, it's cool to like finally connect.
Yeah, and I've never met you in person. Just be like, man, that dude takes his pictures and just makes them so sweet. Like, who can do that around here? Nobody. Like, but that's the talent. Like, that's just that exposing the talent. There's so much. I know there is. I've worked with so many people. Like, I know that there's more people out there than what I've met in the past year or 2 years of being back in Ohio. So, I lived in California for 2 years-ish.
Cool.
Sacramento area.
Wow, man. So did you take away a lot away from that experience?
Oh yeah, it was cool for 2 years, but I was like, it's so weird to be outside of the bubble that you grew up in, because my parents have lived in the same house since they got married, right off 23, in between Waverly and Chillicothe, and I've spent my whole life there. And then it's like, I went to California just because I had a cool opportunity come up with like an internship, and then I'm in California for 2 years just soaking up, like, I don't even know what's going on. People are asking me if I'm from Texas because I have an accent, and I'm like, I ain't got an accent. Okay, I don't know what you're hearing.
Yeah, no, it's like you're from a different country or something.
It's a culture shock completely, and you're like, it was the first time I was like,
did you have the mullet when you were out there?
No, I didn't. I had the flow going. I had my hair about like Simon's right now. I was going into the
pre-mullet stage.
Yeah, we'll get him there. We'll talk him into it.
One of these days.
My mom cuts my hair into a mullet, so maybe she can hook him up or something. I don't know. It'll be cool. It's a family thing.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, it was a culture shock for sure, and just knowing that not everybody thinks exactly how we do in this area. And I'm not generalizing the area or anything, but just like, it's weird to see like
it's different. It's
completely different. Yeah. And like, they would make fun of me for saying baloney.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, baloney, and they'd be like, no, it's baloney. And I'd be like, oh, so baloney? And they'd be like, no. And I'd be like, just weird stuff like areas are so interesting.
But it is cool how many people, like when you really start to get to know people that are in the community, even here locally, are, I mean, like Portsmouth is definitely pretty eclectic. It's not that idea of Appalachia that maybe everybody has, you know, that we've just all lived here forever or have had no kind of outside experience. You know, like Bastion Lackoff, when he was on the podcast, is from Paris, you know, and lives here full time, just right down on Chillicothe Street.
Oh yeah,
like all kinds of professors and stuff. Like Shawnee State really kind of ups, like just the diversity of people that live here as well, which 100%. Is cool. Yeah, so we have like all these, like a specific talent that I wanted to talk about with you all is you're not necessarily just playing all covers, like you're songwriters as well.
Right.
Get into a little bit about your process there, kind of maybe how do you make the jump, because I guess I don't have any experience in songwriting, but I imagine it's kind of intimidating going from like learning this music, learning how to play the instrument, to kind of putting out your own work.
I think like the scariest part is just knowing that like you're putting a part of yourself out there.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know, you almost feel vulnerable. But
also when it comes to, it's definitely a vulnerable thing, and you're, like I said, there's times like where you write those personal lyrics that you know a lot of people are going to know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And that, like, but also like trying to get it to translate to,
you're like, you know, your mom's listening, you're like,
exactly, man, dude, I have written so many songs and been like, oh,
that's like the one, like, we're
it's
gonna have to get over
this. It's a shame that I can't release this because, you know, whatever, sorry mom, I don't know. But you know, also like I sat down one time and wrote a song about moonshine with my mom, and it was just like cool to like be like, okay, let's make up this story about if me and my brother and one of my friends were running moonshine. She's like, okay, cool, and like we sat there and wrote a song together, and
that's
like,
cool, man.
It was kind of cool and interesting to see her just be like, oh, this is so silly, you know, because my dad's a pastor, my mom's the pastor's wife, was my Sunday school teacher, so
wow,
that whole thing is like, it's been awesome. They're the best parents ever. They've supported me with everything I've done. Sorry, I'm not talking about songwriting because I got off on a ramble.
You're good, dude. You're good.
But yeah, just knowing that people aren't going to know the song straight up, flat away. Like when you're playing in a venue around this area, most of them are just people that probably don't care if you're there or not. You know what I mean? It's kind of like they just came to show up and eat or drink and go home, but there's just kind of like, oh, okay, cool, background noise up there or whatever. It's not ever like, oh, well, we're going to go. I mean, I guess a couple times it's like, well, we're going to go out and see, like, my friends and family will do that. But for the most part, you almost have to approach it like these people don't want to hear any weird songs.
Yeah.
They don't want to hear any songs that they don't know. Like, and so being able to practice and perform your originals, that's usually pretty, you want to have them tight because if you mess up the song, like you're like, oh man, I just told him I wrote this and I don't even know it. And I'm the king of forgetting words to songs that I've sang a million times. So
we finally have 2 clips to put on the mic stand though, so we can put words.
Oh, tight.
We're rocking with one.
Yeah, it's just Simon will look at me for the words and I'll be like, I'm not the guy to ask for the words, man. Like, I don't know. Because we play these like 3 hours. So like when you play these 3-hour sets, you're just kind of like, whatever song comes to my mind next. You're kind of like trying to think what you're going to do next. It's hard for a dude with ADD to just figure that all out. And I'm way too like
about songwriting.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, so for you guys, is it like is it writing? Like are you journaling this stuff out beforehand? Are you like having conversations with people? You get inspired by other people's music? I'm sure it's a little bit of each, but like your best work, where do you feel like that comes from?
I mean, I just try to like take what I'm feeling currently and just write about it. And I have a buddy that I FaceTime all the time, so he gives me feedback all the time. So
yeah, you bounce a lot of your work off people just like early.
Yeah, it's just there's been so many like I've written a lot of songs and like probably only 5 of them, and I have more than 5 of them out right now. I was like, yeah, let's do this one. Like, you know, there's always that like I made this, so I'm happy with it because I wrote it and it's like it means something to me. That does not mean it's going to mean anything to anyone else, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I haven't really co-wrote a whole lot.
I think it's harder.
It is harder because like
you don't know what they're wanting to do.
It's hard to, because first you have to pick like, okay, well this chord progression sounds really cool and different from, you know how many songs I've written that it's like, one time I wrote a whole song and I was like, oh man, this is Blue Ain't Your Color by Keith Urban. I was like, this is that exact
just subliminally
song. Just like I did not even mean to, and I got all the way done right, and I was like, this is almost identical to Blue Ain't Your Color, and I was like,
that's awesome.
It's so frustrating.
You have to find, because I mean, living in 2021 with the vast, diverse music range I have.
Yeah.
I know everybody else has that same, like everybody's listened to so many things because the radio, you could listen, even when it was just the radio before Apple Music and iTunes and Spotify or YouTube.
Right.
Like, just the radio is, like, diverse.
Yeah.
And then you start getting into the other music that isn't played on the radio, and it's just, like, it's hard to pick a song with a chord progression that hasn't ever been played before. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
So I think it's going to keep getting harder and harder to be a songwriter and come up with original ideas, but it's just kind of bringing old sounds back and adding new sounds with them, but not being too new sound to sound like overproduced or whatever.
Yeah, sure.
So, and then the vulnerability of like co-writing, like you got to be like, oh, this is what happened to me, and like it's really uncomfortable to talk about, so let's write a song about it. So it's the best, easiest way I've found is just trying to make a storyline that makes sense,
right,
and also have it not just rhyme but like flow well.
Yeah.
And it takes, usually if I don't have a solid chord progression, it takes forever. Like I might as well just stop.
Yeah.
Because it just is not going to happen. Sometimes it just doesn't happen for me.
Sure.
And I go through phases of like I'll write like 5 songs in a week sometimes, and then go like 4 weeks or 5 weeks without writing anything.
Just nothing.
And I think it's partly because like I also do a little bit of production and like try to
Cool, man.
put those songs that get a rough track so I can like give them to my friends that play music and be like, hey, learn this so we can play it almost. And so I just am super ADD and get stuff done and do different stuff and end up usually not getting anything polished and finished because it'll all come together. Yeah. I need a manager, honestly.
Well, yeah, talking about, I mean, you guys are you're local artists. You're doing this DIY. Like, how did you? What were your kind of first steps to start getting shows booked? Start playing where you guys play, especially like we're living in a pretty crazy time already. Mm-hmm. But talk about some of the learning experiences you had there and just getting on a stage to play for people.
I think everyone right now is eager to kind of start getting back into the hang of it. Like, it was so... I played one time during COVID, and there was like 3 people there, and they were all spaced out, and it was weird.
Yeah.
I think now that everything's kind of opening back up, we have way more opportunity to do stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think people start getting more creative of how they have, like, I started playing country gigs. I was in the church world, and I was a worship leader for a little while, and then after that, I actually was a worship leader at Life Point Church here in Portsmouth, so I'm pretty familiar with the area. Lived here for a little while. So after I kind of transitioned out of that, I started doing nursing school and started just doing gigs on the weekends when I could schedule them because I knew around 3 hours worth of songs. And so that's about when I started releasing music. And then to get gigs, I legitimately would type in bars in this area and look at each bar and be like, okay, they have live music. And I would I messaged every bar probably in a 150, 200 mile radius.
That's tight, dude. That's
Facebook,
that's the grind right
on
there.
Instagram, and a lot of them didn't get back with me, but some of them did because, they were like Chillicothe people or Waverly people that were like, we know him and okay, he does music and stuff. So it really is a grind, and it can be frustrating at times because like I said, I don't know what's going on exactly. Like there's no like do this and this and this and you can do this. So it's like a lot of Google search history of like, how do you manage band? How do you schedule band? Can you gig with band in Utah? Yeah,
but dude, I mean that like you're hitting the nail on the head, and a lot of the things that people don't talk about practically. I mean that's like how I started the podcast, how I got the right equipment. Like
exactly.
That's how Doc Spartan started. I'm sure like how to make body scrub, like that kind of stuff. It is all trial and error. A lot of direct messages. We have the power to do all of that now, which is cool.
Yeah, 100%. And I sent. Like, there's no glitz and glam about me. Like, I pull up to every gig in my Silverado, like, my best cut-off flannel, and just, like, do what I can. Like, I'm just trying to make music happen for 3 hours, like, however I can. Now, I've got, like, equipment and stuff like that I was like, okay, this works. And, people have helped me out buying me equipment and they're like, we see that this is very difficult to do. Like, let's at least like make you look legit or whatever. Because like I said, I have no clue how. So I've like shot my shot and sent a couple songs to like big name pop country artists and just been like, hey, like, is this a cool song? Because I spent a little bit of time writing pop country and nobody answered back. But you got to at least
shoot your shot, bro.
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Wayne Gretzky, Michael Scott.
100%. Double quote, dude. I love it. But as far as maybe like the production side of things, I mean, you mentioned that. I guess you have any advice, or by your experience, how do you start to get into that flow? Was it difficult, or just did your music background help you understand how the programs were structured? I mean, are you working in like Logic or something?
Yeah, so I use Logic. I started on GarageBand for production.
Free tool, also.
Free tool.
Yeah, so like you can really just get your feet wet if you want to, bro.
And when I started, I didn't know that you could do MIDI and like all that stuff and put drums in with a keyboard and like bass with a keyboard. I had no clue, so I just started out recording my guitar on a mic.
Right.
And then like I'd record a cajon or whatever, and then just try to make it sound cool. Didn't work for like 3 years because it was just terrible. And then eventually I got Logic because I was moving out to California and I needed it.
Yeah.
So when I went out there, that's when I learned a lot of the ins and outs of how to produce a show or produce a song or produce a live song that like gets people interacted or whatever. It was a church program. It was a worship leadership internship.
Yeah.
So I learned a lot of ships. Yeah. Yeah, worship, internship, friendship, lots of them. So I learned a lot about hooking stuff up and doing lighting, and we set up this like 100 square foot LED board one time, like to hang up. Like, I mean, it was like a very, very big church that I learned a lot from.
Right.
So I have all that knowledge, and then I come back here and I'm like, okay, I want to do country music or southern rock or rock, whatever you want to call it. I want to do live music, and I don't know what I need. I guess just a microphone and a sound system. And so that's what I did. I bought that and got a new studio mic and just started. It's just the more you do with something, I'm lucky enough that I love it. I'd be doing it if no music scene existed or anything. Like I really think I would, because I just like sitting down and being able to create something that is mine. And
something you take pride in.
Right, exactly. And working with other people and being like, hey, I don't do this well, and I'm just telling you that. So like, will you come? You do that well, and just trying to get it to translate and having relationships where I can send those things that I produce at best to somebody that knows how to mix and master them and can get me up to radio quality that can be played anywhere on iTunes or Spotify, and people listen to it and are like, hey, this doesn't sound bad. And you're like, thank you. That's what I was going for.
No, you're onto something though, dude, because I guess a perfect example is I listen to a lot of like what Baby Keem's doing. Like that dude was producer first, you know, producing for Black Panther, those kind of things. Just started doing the vocals to get sound or like track ideas down for people he could work for. And so you're kind of doing the same thing. You're applying a sketch. You're just like creating an idea that then could go on to be mixed and mastered. I think that's powerful instead of just, you know, I can't produce, so I guess I won't make music kind of philosophy, right?
It is about getting that, like pretty much a bare bones version of this is what I would kind of like the song to sound like, and like play the MIDI drums well enough to be like, does this sound like how you'd want it? So we can like woodshed it out as a band or, you know, as a duo or whatever is happening, you know, just be able to create something that everybody can get that idea of like, okay, 'cause I've never heard this song before. You wrote it.
Sure.
So like the feel of it or how the lyrics flow or if there's going to be harmonies. It's just, it's cool. It is cool to be a part of the songwriting process of creating. It's just because it's a thing that not a lot of people do because I don't even know if they know they can do it.
Right, exactly. Well, you probably didn't know if you could either before y'all started, right?
No, not at all. It was just kind of like man, it would be cool to write my own songs one day and play them for people, or not play them for people, play them for my mom and dad, and then be like, wow, you wrote a song, that's cool. Like, it's just always been like, I enjoy it, and the outcome's never like been terrible or, like I said, I was lucky to grow up with a really supportive group of people around me.
Right.
And,
well, and those community structures are important too, like where you guys are hitting at, or what you did with LifePoint, like that community like built and created these kind of self-sustaining systems where they had production, video, like you see a bunch of churches getting in on that now because they know they have to reach people that are staying home, you know?
And that was cool too. I got to work and do a couple of Christmas, I can't remember if
like live streams.
It was before COVID.
Oh,
so it was like the big. I can't remember what they call it. I think they call them worship experiences, Christmas experiences.
Yeah.
Anyway, just being able to work with a group of musicians that were like, okay, let's learn a bunch of Christmas music that a lot of people probably don't want to hear and try to make it cool. And there was like snow coming from the ceiling, and like we had a bunch of snowballs one year and we're throwing them. Like, it was pretty sweet. It was fun to be a part of. And I learned so much of how to like do a show or like work with people or musicians, or how to talk to a drummer or a bass player. Nothing that I've done I don't look at anything as a waste of time. Like, yes, I could be way further. There are a lot of people out there that are way further, but I really just feel like I'm coming into my own thing, and like like me and Simon are doing music together now, and like everything will just fall into place, and music has not ever been not fun for me.
Yeah.
Sure,
Never.
no. That's the key, man. I mean, because you don't have that longevity, or you can't take it far if it's not something you legitimately enjoy.
Right.
There's other things you could do that would be immediately more lucrative.
Right.
But I don't think that's the approach to make meaningful art that
Right.
means something, and then something you can endure. You know?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And yeah, even like the same thing with communities. PSKC has definitely been that for me, and that's where like things like Doc Spartans started out of those genuine little communities of like-minded people that that had a similar vision, wanted to be stronger people, work on themselves, and in turn, they built this community that created this e-commerce brand, created opportunity for other people like me. It's where I met the Glockners. It's where, like, I guess you met Dale and Chase and them last night, and now you guys have that gig scheduled this Friday, which is pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
But talking about just that personal development aspect of this, because I know you guys, I'm interested in this for people that are entrepreneurial like you. You guys have a drive. You wouldn't be creating things if you didn't. So where's that come from? How do you work on Chase and Simon? Is it meditation? What is it gonna do? Just to take that make your art that 1% better, because I think that's a big component of just growing in your craft, is how you work on yourself kind of deal.
I mean, I think like a lot of it comes from wanting to do something that we love full time, and so if we put 100% into it and like kind of master what we're doing, I truly think that we will be able to do that.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know where the drive exactly comes from. I really think it's just, at the core of me, I love music.
Yeah.
I enjoy playing. Like, ask my brother, my girlfriend, my dad, my mom, anybody. Like, I've always sat around and just played guitar on the couch, tried to play piano, tried to play banjo. Just like, I just love doing it. And when I see that, like, when I get together with him or my buddy Puma or my buddy Mike or anybody to make music with somebody else that really wants to make music, and then I hear what it sounds like and know it can obviously get better, because it's just, this is like a raw version of like even a cover. Like the first couple times we did this song called Amy, we like, it was kind of like, oh, this was cool, I think this could be cool, and now we play it and I'm like, dude, this is fun. Like, this is sweet. We should write a song like this, or like something like sounds like this. It's just, that's I think where my drive comes from, because it's like, it's cool to me that not everybody in the world can play guitar.
Yeah.
Not everybody in the world, and I'm not saying I'm some special person or anything, but like, it's just interesting to me that I've somehow wanted to learn how to play guitar, and then started doing it, and then just meet, like I said, you meet different people, but it's hard. There's no like, I wish I could say like I woke up and like thought about all the good things in life for like 10 minutes, but I'm like a very get up 5 minutes before I have to leave kind of person.
Yeah, man.
So if something interesting, like an interesting event happens in my life, like I can maybe draw kind of I don't want to say the worse the situation is, like almost like the easier it is to write about it.
Yeah.
But
it's how it is. I feel like
it really
helps.
is.
Yeah.
The best art comes from pain, kind of deal.
Yeah, like they say, like the best songs come from breakups or like whatever, and like we've all been through breakups.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like the slower songs almost to me are easier to write, and like, but that's the country in me of like, like my dog's gone, my truck's gone, my lady's gone, my beer's gone. It's kind of.
But it's a very, very instinctual kind of organic thing for you guys.
Yeah, it is. It's just kind of like there's nothing fancy about it at all. There's no, like, I literally write, I could show you all my phone notes. Like, I have hundreds of like 3-line, like, oh, this could be a song, and then I forget about it until like 2 years later. I'm like, oh, cool, maybe I'll write on that or something. Like, it's just, there's nothing that puts me in the writing mood, but I think I fall into the writing mood, and that could be luck. I don't know. Like, I really like, like I said, I don't have anything figured out at all. It's all like there's no glitz or glam or anything fancy about it. It's just I want to do it, and you know, being able to put myself in the position to like not help anyone out, but just be like it really could be like this easy.
Yeah.
Like learn 3 hours. Like I guess the hard part is learning how to play guitar and singing. If you got that part down, pretty much do it. Like you're just,
it says a lot, y'all, that you wanted to do it and then you took action on it, which is significantly farther than the majority of people get. So that's cool.
I appreciate it.
And like Dylan, I've had the pleasure of hearing your music. Awesome stuff, dude. Haven't got to hear you yet, Simon, but
not yet.
I've been looking forward to it Friday.
It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, tell us about what you guys are doing Friday.
So I saw Dale on Shark Tank, like I said. Actually, I said Shark Week, but and we just kind of hit each other up, both Southern Ohio boys, and he's like, I'm doing this buy a vet a beer night, and I was like, cool, man, that sounds awesome. And then the next message was like, do you want to play at it? And I was like, yeah, let's do it. And so me and Simon came down and met with him, and just legit hit it off. Like I don't think anybody wouldn't hit it off with Dale. Like he's just that cool.
You can tell he's a genuine dude.
Yeah, he just was excited about everything. So Friday, November 12th, which is next Friday. From us now, I don't know when people see this, but
they'll catch them at the beginning of the week, bro. So
I don't know if it starts at 6 or 7.
It's at 6.
6. So 6 until
there's a Facebook post somewhere with this info.
Give up.
We will be at Patties and Pints for Buy a Vet a Beer, and there's ways that you can buy a vet a beer online at the Doc Spartan Instagram page, I think, and maybe Facebook.
Plug, yeah.
So definitely do that. It's going to be a really cool thing. I'm going to bring a band down, and we're going to get funky with it, see what we can do, and have a lot of fun, I'm sure.
No doubt, dude.
I'm excited about it.
Awesome. Yeah, me too. Tell us where everyone can find you online, your platform, and then where we can find you on TikTok. Simon, you piqued my interest, bro.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so you're good.
Are you sure?
Yeah, no, please.
My TikTok is Simon T-Man Music. That's, the biggest platform I have, and my Instagram's on there.
Awesome.
Simon Thoroughman.
Yeah, I'm on everything except for MySpace, I think. So everything, Dylan Stulley. You can listen to me on iTunes or Spotify or Amazon, Apple Music, anything you can listen to music on under Dylan Stulley. Those are all songs that I wrote and did all the instruments on, and they all happened either at my parents' house or at the place I lived at in Ciderville. No fancy studio stuff, legitimately.
Represent the Ville, bro. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Dude.
That's
where the whole
I just realized that we lived 5 minutes away at one point, and now we have to drive an hour.
I know. Kind of hurts. But it's cool to see where we were then to how we've come into our own kind of thing. But yeah. Dylan Stulley, that's it.
Awesome, yo. Well, hey, I really appreciate you guys just filling in all the listeners and just hearing about local people doing ambitious things. That's what you all all your aspirations are cool. So commend you guys.
I appreciate you having us on here, man. I'm glad I got to finally meet you.
Cheers. Yeah, same.
Cheers, dude.
Thanks everybody for listening.